former Director of Finance and Administration with the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, Garba Duko, has been sentenced to 24 years in prison. The Federal High Court in Abuja delivered a verdict on Friday, finding Duko guilty of 6 counts of money laundering brought against him by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. Duko was found guilty on all 6 counts and was sentenced to 4 years for each. Duko, who served as Director of Finance and Administration under the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, was found guilty of unlawfully taking possession of 318 million naira belonging to his employer. However, following a plea for leniency by the convict, and considering that he is a first-time offender, the judge ruled that the sentences will run concurrently, meaning Duko will serve only 4 years in prison, starting from October 3, 2025. Justice Omotosho convicted Duko after reviewing the evidence and exhibits presented by the ICPC, along with witness testimonies provided during the trial. The judge also gave the convict an option of paying a 1.6 billion naira fine to the federal government in lieu of serving a prison sentence, which means he may avoid jail term. Still to come, journalist talks to prepare for life after service. Taraba government partners Arms Control Agency to curb illicit weapons proliferation. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a lawsuit filed against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, which challenged the legality of a 6-month suspension imposed on Kogi Central Senator Natasha Uduaghan-Akpoti over alleged misconduct. Suit filed by Ovawu Ilyasu and 9 others was struck out by the judge on the grounds that the plaintiff lacked the legal standing to bring the case before the court. Illegal action sought to question the validity of Senator Uduaghan-Akpoti's suspension on several grounds. Among the reasons presented by the plaintiffs was a claim that a suspension will leave their senatorial district without adequate representation in the Senate. The Oyo State High Court sitting in Ibadan has extended its interim injunction barring United Bank for Africa from allowing withdrawals from 30 bank accounts where the Central Bank of Nigeria lodged withheld Osun State local government funds. In a ruling delivered on Friday, Justice Ladiran Akintola extended the order originally granted on September 26 until October 9, 2025. Explained that the extension was to ensure all parties, including the Attorney General of Osun State, the Osun State Local Government Service Commission, and UBA PLC, are given a fair opportunity to present their case. While UBA's legal counsel was absent, senior lawyer Kazim Badamosi appeared in court on behalf of former All Progressive Congress Council Chairman, filed applications to join the suit and challenge the court's jurisdiction. Badamosi argued that his clients were directly impacted by the interim order and should be allowed to participate. Further contended that the injunction had lapsed and should not be extended. Plaintiff's counsel Osibawu Adetumbi requested more time to respond, stating the applications were only filed late Thursday and Friday. He also maintained that the ex-council chairman lacked the legal standing to challenge the court's jurisdiction until the joinder application is approved. The case was adjourned to October 9, 2025 for further hearing. As the Anambra State gubernatorial election draws near, stakeholders are weighing in on what they believe is the best path forward for the state. At the monthly Congress of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Anambra State Council held in Oka, issues of governance and the future of journalism were in focus. Correspondent Lawrence Wimo reports.
The Anambra gubernatorial election is only weeks away, and understandably, the conduct of the poll is increasingly dominating discussions. Stakeholders have continued to weigh in on the best way forward for the state, and incidentally, the monthly Congress of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Anambra State Council, provided yet another platform. Primus Odele, Chief of Staff to Willie Obiano, the immediate past governor of Anambra State, made a strong case for what he called continuity in governance. Odele canvassed for a continuation of government under the All Progressive Grand Alliance, which he said has transformed the fortunes of Anambra State since the tenure of Peter Obi.
The equation will change. They will come in and dismantle what is on the ground already and begin to start their own structure, and that will take us back. His predecessors in making sure that we continue in the work of developing every sector simultaneously in Anambra State.
The managing director of Anambra ICT Agency, Chukwuemeka Agwata, said Anambra had become a leading state in digital governance, with ministries, departments, and agencies in the state having been fully digitized, easing the workload of civil servants. Agwata stated that government had extended free Wi-Fi to the public at designated spots, including Aroma Junction, Ekoka, ABS Bus Stand, Ukwoje, and the Unizik Gate, to empower youths and other residents.
We have distributed more than 5,000 laptops, PCs, printers across different MDAs. That's why, if you notice now, the amount of civil servants who will go to Aroma, but that was the first time you noticed that civil servants had to go to Aroma all the time to go and either print, type, or the other thing they do. Right now, we're trying to put a stop to that. Civil servants now have access. In fact, Aroma, the state secretariat, has 24 hours internet connectivity. You have internet connectivity, you also have hardware, software, adoption from the top. One of the things that we did with the support of Mr. Governor, working with SSG, is to digitize the ESCO chambers.
Dr. Azubiken Kala, a veteran journalist and lecturer at Paul University, Oka, urged journalists to start preparing for life after service, noting that the current salary scale is extremely low. He encouraged practitioners to enhance their skills in order to improve their bargaining power during and after active service.
It's only the innovators, it's only the people who decide to develop themselves, and people who decide to make something out of nothing that succeeds in Anambra State.
A new chairman in Anambra State, Emeka Odogu, urged journalists to prepare for the future while working hard, emphasizing the importance of being proactive and resilient in the face of challenges and uncertainty.
The good aspect of life is when you are preparing for tomorrow, when you are preparing for the next action. For every situation, trust God, believe in God, work hard, focus, you actualize your dreams and aspirations. I want people, all of us that are in journalism, to prepare for tomorrow, to prepare for eventuality.
From Oka, Lawrence Nwimo, Signature TV News.
Residents of our community in the Idemili South local government area of Anambra State have called on Governor Chukwuma Soludo to bring key developmental projects to the fast-growing town to help accelerate its transformation. The appeal was made by the President General of our Patriotic Union, Anthony Ejiofor, during a grand rally held in the community. At the top of the list was the construction of the Oba Umoji Akwoku Road, a strategic route linking three communities. Ejiofor described it as the town's highest priority, vital for enhancing trade, transportation, and economic development in the Idemili area. Ejiofor also appealed to the governor to consider appointing qualified Oba indigents and residents to government positions. In addition, he called for the formal designation of Rejeni Tourist and Sports Village as the official Anambra State Sports Center, citing its historical significance, including hosting the 1993 Golden Eaglets and its approval by the Confederation of African Football for continental matches. The retired Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, John Cardinal Onayeka, wants the Nigerian government to make the welfare of citizens the focus of its policies and programs. Cardinal Onayeka made the call in a special interview with Signature TV. He said that having accepted that its policies are not popular with the people, the government must find a way of reducing their pains.
So bold and courageous. They admit that the results, the outcome of their policies has led to unpopular feelings from the people. And that I'm trying to listen to them. That a good government should not be wanting to carry out popular policies, but rather policies that will work for the good of the nation. I'll be listening to this, but apart from they themselves who are turning out these policies and the people whom they have recruited to carry it out, the vast majority of Nigerians don't seem to see it that way. They definitely don't agree that the government should be there to pursue policies that make life difficult for the people. No matter how beautiful your policy is, it should not make people's life miserable.
The Archbishop Emeritus noted that young people have lost hope in the future of Nigeria, said it is because they have not seen any lights at the end of the tunnel, that they decided to migrate out of the country in search of greener pastures.
We have lost hope in the nation because this line you are taking, they cannot see it. They cannot see any light at the end of the tunnel, which is why many of our young boys and girls who can make it are leaving the nation for destinations that are only in their mind, but which, unfortunately, we know is not necessarily going to make things easy for them. When young people begin to run away from their nation, it's not a good sign now. Because young people should be able to see in the government sign of a better future. They are not seeing it.
For more on the interview with Cardinal John Onayeka, go to signaturetv.org, Signature TV YouTube channel, Signature TV app on Google Play Store and iOS. The leadership of a national union of local government employees in Osun State has said its members would not return to their duty post until the union could guarantee their safety. Osun Norway President Nathaniel Ugungbangbe made this known on Friday while reacting to the suspension of the strike announced by the Association of Concerned Local Government Workers of Osun State, a fractional group. Ugungbangbe, who directed workers in the local government area across the state to stay away from the duty posts, said that action was necessary to protect them from becoming casualties in the ensuing bloody clashes involving PDP and APC members. Meanwhile, the state coordinator of the fractional group, Adedayo Adekunle, accused Tonga leadership of partisanship and insensitivity by ordering workers out of their duty posts since February. Adekunle, who said that local government staff should resume work immediately, called on security agents to provide security for them, insisted that the staff of local government areas in the state are apolitical. Local government administration in Osun State stopped functioning optimally since Monday, February 17, 2025, shortly before bloody clashes involving members of the People's Democratic Party and opposition All Progressives Congress over the control of the council area. In a bid to tackle the growing threat of illegal arms, the Taraba State government has pledged to collaborate with the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, NCCSALW. The announcement came during a courtesy visit to the state by the NCCSALW Northeast Zonal Coordinator, Major General Abubakar, representing the governor. The Speaker of the State House of Assembly, John Buzena, emphasized the urgency of addressing arms proliferation, particularly given Taraba's strategic location bordering other states and countries affected by cross-border arms smuggling. Governor Kefas reiterated his administration's commitment to strengthening security through targeted partnerships and initiatives. General Abubakar commended the state government's ongoing security efforts and stressed the importance of collaboration between all stakeholders, described the unchecked proliferation of small arms and light weapons as a major threat to Nigeria's national security and stability. Crisis erupted in a Dogon community of the local government area of Ondo State on Friday as some irate youths allegedly beat up the town's monarch, about Moses Bakari, his wife, and his son, identified as Victor. The incident, which occurred during the annual New Yam Festival, left the monarch injured, while his wife was reportedly beaten and stripped half naked by the angry youths. Though the cause of the attack could not be immediately ascertained, a resident of the town who pleaded anonymity for fear of reprisal said some residents had been long at loggerheads with the monarch. Confirming the incident, State Police Procurations Officer Olayinka Ayalade said that an investigation had commenced. Next is business news.
The Central Bank of Nigeria is set to take over both the trading platform and settlement process for fixed income transactions beginning November this year as part of a phased market overhaul. According to the acting director of the Financial Markets Department, Oke Umeano, this reform is intended to deepen regulatory supervision, streamline operations, and enhance transparency across the fixed income sector. Under the rollout plan, user acceptance testing is slated for October, followed by a pilot phase before full migration of settlement services on November 3, 2025, and activation of the CBN-sponsored trading environment scheduled for December 1, 2025. The CBN emphasized that it will collaborate actively with stakeholders, including the Financial Market Dealers Association, FMDA, to minimize disruption and ensure the upgrades support monetary policy transmission and market stability. FCMB Group has opened a 160 billion naira public share offer as part of efforts to recapitalize its banking arm and meet the Central Bank of Nigeria's 500 billion naira minimum capital requirement for international banks. The offer, which runs until November 6th, involves 16 billion ordinary shares priced at 10 naira each. According to the group, proceeds will be channeled into strengthening the bank's capital base to ensure it retains its international banking license. This comes after a 147.5 billion naira rights issued in 2025 that was oversubscribed by 33%, attracting over 42,800 investors, 92% of whom subscribed digitally. FCMB explained that the new capital raise forms part of a broader three-phase recapitalization plan, which will also include the sale of monetary stakes in some subsidiaries, with the funds redirected into core banking operations. The group emphasized that the initiative is critical to meeting regulatory requirements, supporting growth, and preserving its international banking status. Utica Capital has unveiled a 20 billion naira closed-ended venture fund to bridge the estimated 200 billion naira financing gap in Nigeria's film industry. The film fund, approved by Securities and Exchange Commission, will channel investments into production, distribution, streaming, and film infrastructure. Chairman Dr. Adesegun Akin Olugbade said the initiative is a smart investment with strict due diligence and governance. The fund has a 10-year lifespan, targeting a net internal rate of return of 58.2%, with an initial 5 billion naira tranche for Series 1. The film fund also plans to co-invest alongside partners to strengthen confidence in the project. The Nigeria Customs Service and the Nigerian Communications Commission have entered into a new partnership to strengthen oversight of imported communication devices. The initiative is aimed at boosting national security, protecting consumers, and curbing the influx of uncertified phones, network boosters, and other telecom equipment that undermine service quality. Speaking at Customs House in Abuja today, Comptroller General Adewale Adeniyi said the agency will now enforce stricter certification and classification under the tariff regime before such devices are cleared at the ports. He noted that the collaboration will also help block revenue leakages and support the government's digital economy drive. NCC's Executive Vice Chairman, Aminu Maida, emphasized the importance of the device management system, which uses IMEI tracking to identify and blacklist non-type approved devices. Both agencies pledged sustained cooperation, including the training of customs officers on telecom certification protocols to ensure a cleaner and more secure communications market. And that's business news on Global News. In Abuja, I am Tomsinime Natus.
Up ahead, Qatar, Egypt, and UN welcome Hamas response to Trump's Gaza plan. Czech voters cast ballots on second day of parliamentary elections. Details of these and more after the break.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Japanese citizens welcomed the ruling party's pick of nationalist Sanae Takaishi as its head on Saturday, putting her on course to become the country's first female prime minister. The Liberal Democratic Party, which has ruled Japan for almost all of its post-war era, elected Takaishi to regain trust from a public angered by rising prices and drawn to opposition groups, stimulus and clamp down to migrants. Takaishi, the only woman among the 5 LDP candidates, bids a challenge from the more moderate Shinjiro Koizumi, who was bidding to become the youngest modern leader. Describing Takaishi's victory as a fresh breeze, 30-year-old office worker Risa Sona said a win symbolized newness.
Among the candidates, I was interested the most in Ms. Takaichi, the reason being that I think she would be the first female leader, so I really hope she does her best. It's just an impression, but when it comes to politics, especially the Liberal Democratic Party, there's been a lot of unpleasant news about money and other things. So the fact that she's a woman gives me a sense of something like a fresh breeze, something new.
Yes, I agree with this selection. I hope she can lead with strong leadership and help bring back a stronger Japan. That would make me happy. Yes, I am a bit concerned about our relations with countries in Asia, but I'm hopeful that she'll be able to handle things well.
The fact that a woman was chosen might be seen positively. I think it shows that Japan is truly starting to change, and that message is getting across.
Polls opened early on Saturday for the second day of voting in the Czech parliamentary elections, which are expected to see the centre-right government ousted, with billionaire Andrej Babiš's ANO party leading in opinion surveys. The change will boost Europe's populist anti-immigration camp and could complicate consensus on climate policies. Czechs endured inflation surges after the global pandemic and Russia's invasion of Ukraine have had a slow recovery from one of Europe's worst drops in real incomes. That has helped the popularity of Prime Minister Petra Fiala's Spolu coalition and its Liberal government allies were focused on lowering the budget deficit. Polls will be open until 2 p.m. on Saturday, with results expected that afternoon. Reactions have trailed a ceasefire agreement brokered by President Donald Trump to end the Gaza war, including releasing hostages after Hamas said it would agree to the terms. This is coming after Hamas agreed to the deal, with Israel also saying it is preparing for immediate implementation of the deal. Correspondent Raymond Ken Mbata has an update.
I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together: Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan.
Qatar said it has begun coordination with Egypt and the United States to continue talks on U.S. President Donald Trump's plan to end war in Gaza after Palestinian militant group Hamas issued its response to the proposal on Friday. A Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesperson said on X that Doha welcomed Hamas's reply to the plan. Egypt's Foreign Ministry said it hoped the response would mark a positive development that could help all parties implement the proposal. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres was encouraged by Hamas's response, according to UN spokesperson Stephane Dujarric. Colombian President Gustavo Petro offered to deploy the South American nation's military alongside United States forces if President Donald Trump sends troops to Gaza to support a peace plan. Speaking before hundreds of supporters waving Colombian and Palestinian flags, Petro expressed agreement with Trump's peace plan, marking a shift from the Colombian leader who has been a fierce critic of the United States president. He maintained his condemnation of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's military actions in Gaza, which he described as genocide.
We do not want anyone to get hurt, and we want people's rights to be respected. Clearly, their responsibilities to protect.
What is the Secretary General's view in this moment stage? They are about 100 miles away from Gaza. Should the flotilla continue its course or halt? Does he believe such an initiative contributes to peace and the delivery of aid, or could it risk further escalation?
Look, there is a level of advocacy that is needed and welcome regarding the humanitarian situation in Gaza. As for the flotilla, it is not for the Secretary General to tell them what to do. We just want to make sure that everyone is safe.
Islamic Jihad's approval of the plan would facilitate Hamas's release of hostages both groups hold in Gaza. Palestinians in central Gaza said that they were happy and hoped that the war would end for good. Diplomatic correspondent Vin Martin Obiora Ilo, who spoke earlier on the matter, described the deal as a welcome development.
I think it's human nature. All wars start like there will never be an end. And everybody's digging in their positions and not allowing reason to prevail. So, part of why this war is ending is because of the pressure that has been mounted, especially on Hamas, by the USA, by Arab nations, by their Arab supporters, by their supporters around the world.
He also spoke on factors that would make the deal implementable.
The biggest guarantee for this is Trump, is America, and for Trump, this is a big win for him if this peace is implemented. And you know, he's so eager, he's so interested in winning a Nobel Prize. So I think he will do anything he can to ensure that this peace endures.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel was preparing for an immediate implementation of the first stage of Trump's Gaza plan for the release of Israeli hostages following Hamas's response. Shortly after, Israeli media reported that the country's political echelon had instructed the military to reduce offensive activity in Gaza. Gaza health authorities said Israel's military campaign has killed more than 66,000 people in Gaza, most of them civilians. Palestinians in the West Bank have also expressed hope and were eager for an end to the war on Gaza. In Hebron and Ramallah, Palestinians expressed that the most important thing now is to alleviate the suffering of the civilians in Gaza before anything else. Hamas said it would agree to some of the terms in the plan, including releasing hostages, but avoided addressing more vexing issues like disarmament and said it would seek further negotiations. It was unclear if the United States or Israel would be willing to engage in further negotiations on the plan's terms. Raymond Ken Mbata, Signature TV News.
Korea commemorated a traditional ritual ceremony on Friday to mark the founding of ancient Korea. In a video provided, which could not be independently verified, people and officials were seen gathering at the mausoleum of King Tangun in Pyongyang, a holiday known as National Foundation Day in both Koreas. celebrates the legendary founding of a first kingdom on the Korean peninsula by King Tangun more than 4,000 years ago. It is observed in South Korea as well, where it is celebrated as a national holiday, marking the legendary origins of a Korean nation. A number of students confirmed dead after the collapse of an Islamic school building in Indonesia rose to 14 early on Saturday, country's disaster mitigation agency said, as the search for survivors continued.
The main activity, today, since last night is a massive cleaning operation with heavy equipment, and hopefully by today we can find more as the team has identified locations where the victims are. The challenge we are facing now is that these victims are very young, and most of them do not have national identity cards, nor fingerprint records. So the only way to identify them is by DNA matching with the families. And visual identification can't be done because after we recovered the bodies from the rubble using heavy equipment, the physical features of the victims have changed significantly. We have put our trust of our children to be educated here, and that's a huge responsibility. This was not a natural disaster, and if there was a human error causing this incident, it must be processed by the law. Justice must prevail, because this is not only about one victim but dozens of lives, and we cannot rule out the possibility that these victims could have become leaders of this nation in future.
The Al Kuzin School in the town of Sudiarit in East Java province caved in on Monday, catering upon hundreds of teenage students during afternoon prayer. Its foundation is unable to support ongoing construction work on its upper floors. 30 ambulances were prepared as rescuers continued looking for 49 students, mostly teenage boys from the ages of 13 to 19, still trapped under the rubble. The disaster mitigation agency said alongside the ambulances were cranes deployed to excavate some of the debris. Earlier on Friday, the agency reported that rescuers had received the parents' permission to make use of heavy equipment after failing to find signs of life during previous efforts. Shops and businesses were closed in Muzaffarabad, capital of Pakistani-controlled Kashmir, on Friday, after several days of violent protests that killed at least 8 people in 4 days. Demonstrators waved flags of a Pakistan-administered Kashmir and chanted slogans as they held small rallies in front of closed shops during a week of the unrest, which started on Monday. Businesses, schools and transport went on strike in response to the protest and have been closed in large parts of the region for the past 4 days, according to officials and reports on Pakistani TV. Businesses were closed on Saturday and small rallies went on in the streets. Saukat Nazat Mir, who leads an alliance of Kashmir's civil rights groups, had said ahead of the protest that the organizers were opposing perks and privileges enjoyed by the region's politicians, bureaucrats, and other top government functionaries. The other main grievance is seats in the local Kashmir legislature that have been reserved for representatives from other parts of Pakistan, which Kashmiri activists say have been used to install or topple regional governments. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif set up a committee of senior officials to resolve the ongoing clashes, and the leader of the Jammu Kashmir Awani Action Committee, Faisal Jamil Kashmiri, told Reuters on Friday he believed talks were making progress.
This was all mismanaged by the government. Then a high-profile delegation arrived here for negotiations. The talks are continuing with it. The talks also continued yesterday. Then the delegation of Joint Action Committee went to Durkat, where a large number of people is gathered who have come from all across Azad Kashmir, from Dudil, Bimber, Kotli and Rawalakot. They are all gathered in Dikkat. People from Durkat and Bagh are gathered near Kohala. Our meeting took place at Durkat and we consulted each other there.
We are not against anyone. We are not against any country. We are not against any institution. Our demands are the demands of oppressed people. These are also the demands of oppressed people of Pakistan. The time will come when oppressed people of Pakistan, Pakistan's poor people, will become one voice like Kashmiri people, and these corrupt people will be gone from these assemblies, parliaments.
Received its third and fourth F-16 Block 70 fighter jets on Friday as part of a 2019 deal aimed at modernizing its air force and phasing out its aging fleet of Russian MiG-29 aircraft. Deliveries followed the arrival of the first two jets earlier this year in April and June at Graf in a Vietco air base. Bulgaria is set to receive an all-8 aircraft from the initial batch by the end of 2025. With a second batch of 8 slated for delivery by 2027. European Union and NATO member countries is seeking to replace its aging Russian MiG-29 fighter jets and improve its compliance to NATO standards. Delivery of fighter jets coincides with heightened regional security concerns following NATO's September announcement to reinforce Europe's eastern flank after Poland intercepted drones that violated its airspace in Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. Aprilia resident Marco Bergeschi seized a dominant pole position in qualifying for the Indonesian Grand Prix after demolishing a lap record at Mandalika on Saturday, while newly crowned 2025 MotoGP champion Marc Marquez qualified a lowly 9th. Bergeschi's blistering lap of 1 minute and 28.832 seconds was enough to comfortably finish ahead of Spanish duo Fermin Alguerdoa, riding for Gresini Racing, and Raul Fernandez of Trackhouse would line up second and third.
Well, it's mandatory, you know. It's true that I'm quite quick, but the pace seeing from the FP2 result was pretty close between me and many others many other riders that are super quick. And as you know, in MotoGP you can never relax. So I'm happy for the qualifying for sure, because it's also the grid for tomorrow, not only today, and this is important. But now we still have to do the main part of the weekend, that are the races. So yeah, let's keep ourselves focused and let's try to make our best.
Brilliant lap, well done.
Thank you very much.
The session also marked a significant milestone for Aldeguer, a 20-year-old rookie, securing his first ever front row start in MotoGP. Yamaha's Alex Rins and KTM's Pedro Acosta rounded up the top 5. Meanwhile, two times MotoGP champion Francesco Bagnaia struggled to maintain the momentum from his flawless Japanese Grand Prix weekend. The Ducati rider missed out on Q2 and will start a disappointing 16th on the grid for Saturday's sprint and Sunday's race. South Africa are perceived to have an advantage in the decisive Rugby Championship clash against Argentina in London on Saturday, but Captain Siya Kolisi said that was only the case if their performance matched their title ambitions. The game is a home fixture for Argentina, who have decided to play at Twickenham, which is expected to be a sea of green, with Springbok supporters hoping their side claim back-to-back trophy wins in Southern Hemisphere Championship. South Africa thumped Argentina 67-30 in Durban last weekend, a result that took them to the top of the Rugby Championship table. They have 15 points, one more than New Zealand, and 4 ahead of Australia, who meet earlier on Saturday in Perth. South Africa's plus 55 points difference is considerably better than both New Zealand and Australia, meaning even a win without a bonus point will be enough, bearing the most unlikely of results in Australia. Now, rather than a daunting trip to Buenos Aires, Cordoba or Mendoza, the Springboks will complete their campaign in West London, which has been a happy hunting ground in recent years. Argentina have beaten New Zealand and Australia in this campaign, and Kolisi is expecting a backlash from what he said was an ever-improving side. South Africa can claim a 6th Rugby Championship title and retain the trophy for the first time. But Kolisi said, "We're not thinking of that yet."
It's only an advantage if we make use of it. I don't know if it will be, because I know Argentinians are all around the world, and it doesn't matter how many numbers they have, but you will definitely hear them the whole game. And we can't think too much of what happened last year. You know, it's a whole new year now. We got to make sure that we create new good memories on Saturday. But we're looking forward to seeing South Africans. Hopefully they do come out in numbers, and we've been blessed wherever we've been all around the world, South African have come out and supported us. So I'm looking on hopefully this weekend it will be the same, and for us as a team to do the job on the field. Compared to the years before, the discipline that they have and how consistent they are in the way they play, and they haven't taken away the Argentinian flair. At any moment of the game, when it's broken, they take the opportunities, and I watched them against New Zealand and against Australia.
Cyclist and social media sensation Aurélien Fortenot became the fastest athlete ever to climb to the second floor of France's Eiffel Tower on an all-terrain bike, the monument's operator said on Friday. Fortenot climbed 686 steps of the monument to reach the second floor platform, the last accessible by stairs, in 12 minutes and 30 seconds. The Associate de Exploration de la Tour Eiffel said in a statement. He broke the previous record by almost 7 minutes in order to claim the title. Fortenot's feet were not allowed to touch the ground. As part of the project, the climb, Fortenot cycled in 2021 to the top of 140-meter high Trinity Tower, also in Paris, and this year climbed Tunnel's TV Tower, 314-meter high, in Estonia. And that's the news this hour. I am Marie Kumo Ado. Thank you very much for watching.